The What Works Clearinghouse's Providing Reading Interventions for Students in Grades 4 through 9 Practice Guide provides evidence-based recommendations for supporting students' reading and writing development in intervention settings. In this video, I will demonstrate identifying and teaching words that are critical and conceptually central to understanding the text. This practice is part of Recommendation 3, Part A, Build Students' World and Word Knowledge so they can make sense of the text. Throughout the video, notice that I prioritize words that are critical and conceptually central for understanding the text, but are likely to be difficult for students. Briefly teach the meaning of a couple of essential words before students begin reading the text, and stop intermittently to support students' use of essential words and general understanding while reading. Teaching words and their meanings can help students learn new concepts and ways of thinking. This helps them make sense of sophisticated content. Prior to the lesson, I reviewed the text that the students will be reading. I've identified words that are critical and conceptually central for understanding the text, but are likely to be difficult for students. These essential words are generally words that appear early or frequently in the passage and might include bolded words if the text is informational. I've written these essential words on the whiteboard so students can easily see and refer to them. To develop students' word knowledge, I will first briefly teach the meaning of a few of these essential words before the lesson. Then, as the students are reading, I will pause to briefly provide the meaning of additional essential words that are critical for understanding the passage. Giving students information about a word prior to reading is important to initiate word learning, but it is important to plan additional opportunities to work with the words and their meanings during and after reading. This helps students incorporate them into their known vocabulary so they can use the words in the future. All right, so today we're going to be reading about the American Revolution. This is probably something you're reading about in your U.S. history classes. But before we start reading, we're going to go over 3 essential words. Essential words are those words that are really important to our overall understanding of the text. So the 3 essential words that we have today from our text are the word conflict. Can you say that with me?
Conflict.
Excessive.
Excessive.
And local.
Local.
Okay, so let's start by talking about this first word, conflict. A conflict is a serious disagreement or a major argument between 2 people. And usually the people involved in a conflict have really strong feelings and beliefs about how things should be done or about how that conflict should be resolved. So for example, I once had a conflict with my sister when we were supposed to meet at the movies, and I thought we were going to the 3 o'clock show, and I was positive that she said the 3 o'clock show. So we had this disagreement. I could have sworn she said 3 o'clock, she could have sworn she said 5 o'clock, and we both thought we were right, and we had a really long disagreement. We had a really big fight about it, actually. So I want you to think in your heads. Think about a conflict or a disagreement that you might have had with someone, a friend, a sibling, a teacher. So when I say go, I want you to turn to your neighbor and I want you to say, a conflict I had is, okay, ready, go.
A conflict I had one with my brother where he said that he was going to come to my
we were playing a video
where I
game,
swore
and
I heard him say
lose.
he's going to come to my show,
So I
and
got
when he
pretty
didn't,
mad.
I was really upset
But we fixed it by
because
playing
it
again.
was one of my first shows.
So it sounds like everyone has had some type of conflict or some type of disagreement with another person. It's given us really strong feelings. So our passage today, the American Revolution actually happened because there was a conflict between the Americans and the British. And that's what led up to this war. They had a very massive disagreement. So now as we read about the American Revolution, you're going to see these essential words in this passage. When you get to one of those bolded essential words, I want you to stop and think about those definitions that we talked about and really think about how it contributes to your understanding of the American Revolution, okay? And remember, the American Revolution happened because there was a conflict. What does conflict mean?
Big disagreement.
A big disagreement between the British and the Americans. So let's read to find out what that conflict was. Can you start right here and read a little bit out loud for me?
Yeah. The British government was making new laws and making the colonists pay more taxes, but the colonies had no say in them. The colonists said, no taxation without representation. They wanted to have some say in the British government if they had to pay excessive taxes and live by British law.
Okay, so there's that word excessive. Do you remember what that essential word means?
A big amount of something.
A big amount, a large amount. So what did the Americans feel like was excessive that Britain was asking them to do?
The amount to pay for taxes, right?
Right? They felt like they had to pay too much money or a
Yeah.
lot of money in taxes, an excessive amount, right?